please stand? We'll do the Pledge of Allegiance. Start the meeting. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, February 26, 2019, Morgan Township meeting. If I can get a roll call, please.
Mr. Updike?
Yes.
Mr. Brucker?
Yes.
Mr. Kolb?
Yes.
All right, I entertain a motion to approve the minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve the Morgan Township Board of Trustee minutes dated February 12th, 2019 as written.
Second?
Mr. Brucker?
Yes.
Mr. Updike?
Yes.
Mr. Kolb?
Yes.
Motion carried.
I entertain a motion to approve the warrants.
I'll make a motion to approve the warrants 2/13, 2019 through 2/26, 2019. Payment number 109-2019 through 142-2019. Warrant number 9065 through 9086 for a total of $59,396.05.
Second.
Mr. Brucker?
Yes.
Mr. Kolb?
Yes.
Mr. Updike?
Yes.
Motion carried.
All right, before I go to the audience, I know we have two speakers tonight. I'll go ahead and go to Mr. Brown first from the auditor's office.
Thank you very much. Pleasure to be here representing Auditor Roger Reynolds for our outreach to local governments that we do on a quarterly basis throughout the county. A few items to bring to everyone's attention tonight. First, I'll start off with a PSA for the Treasurer's Office. Tax bills coming due very quickly, a couple days, February 28th to due date. I know that announcement came in handy a few years ago and when I made that. But the Treasurer's website is a great place to get on there quickly. If you didn't get it in the mail or you've misplaced the bill, you can go and do all that search at butlercountytreasurer.org and figure out just what you need to pay coming up on the 28th. Another deadline that we have in our office coming up is for those in the farm program that get a reduced value based on agriculture. That's the CAUV program, and the renewal and the deadline to file for this year is coming up Monday, March the 4th. So we encourage those farmers. Everyone should have got a letter that's in the program. It's free to renew that, but we do ask that you get that form and that information back to us, that you're continuing to farm and do what's necessary to remain in the program. And that, again, that deadline Monday, March the 4th. And if you didn't get a form, they're also available on our website at butlercountyauditor.org. And then just finally, there's been a lot of news out of our office here recently that we kind of got the word out that there was water in the fuel tanks in folks' cars up in Madison Township, leaving a station just out of Middletown. 5 cars ended up, 4 cars barely made it off the lot, and a postal worker didn't make it even off the lot there. And so that kind of highlighted what we've been talking about for about 6 months now, is trying to get fuel quality testing on a permissive basis for county auditors. We're already out there pulling gas out of the wells and checking for quantity, and we just think it makes common sense for the state legislature to allow us as auditors to take on those costs. Wouldn't be any cost to additional cost to the taxpayers, no cost from the state. And so right on top of that happening, we also had the governor saying, let's raise the gas tax in Ohio, 64%. So we feel like if you're going to ask us to pay more for our fuel, why don't you allow someone to actually test the quality to make sure you're getting the octane level and it's good gas and you're getting what you pay for. We feel like that's our responsibility. We feel like consumers need that in Ohio, one of only 3 states that doesn't have a program to test fuel for quality. Alaska and Nebraska, I believe, are the only other 2 states that don't have a program. So we just think it's a no-brainer. So that's starting to get some traction. There's been a couple of proposals now as amendments to the legislation in the transportation bill that would increase the tax, I think 18 cents a gallon. So we're hoping something sticks, and there's a rider along with that that says as it goes up, we'll also let auditors test for quality to assure the consumers out there that when they fill up with their gas and they want premium, they're getting premium. If they want regular, they're not getting something else, you know. So or when they pay for premium, they're not getting regular. those things have happened in other states that implemented testing. They were able to study that and realize that that problem reduced in those states with testing. So that's something that's moving forward, and we're quite pleased. Dusty Rhodes, the auditor down in Hamilton County, has been a big proponent of this. There's a couple of legislators down in Cincinnati that are moving some things forward, and they've been in contact with us. And we've got some of our own local legislators we believe will be moving some of this forward as well. The latest Rep. Sarah Carruthers out of Hamilton is on the Finance Committee, which will be eventually hearing the transportation budget bill that comes before them. So hopefully, with as much effort as we've been putting into it, and with some people in the right places, maybe we can get that accomplished for something that's really should have been done a long, long time ago. So anyway, that's the update from our office.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate you guys. Thanks a lot.
Appreciate it. And next, I believe we have Ann Flagg from Butler County Recycle and Waste.
I was approached by Trustee Kolb about the possibility that you would be entering into a competitive bid potentially with some neighboring townships to support combination trash and recycling collection for your residents here in Morgan Township. And I put together a number of talking points that I wanted to share with you just in support of going down this path of competitive bidding. Part of the rationale for doing so, part of my interest in seeing you do so, is it will increase inevitably the amount of recyclables that are captured from your residents in this township. I don't know if you're aware that your neighbor in Ross Township in 2016 entered into a competitive bid and ended up contracting with Rumpke, was the competitive bidder that they selected for combination trash and recycling service. And what the competitive bid would allow you to do is provide combination service, trash and recycling, for 100% of your households at a rate that would likely be less than what residents are currently paying for trash collection only. In Ross Township, the average savings is $60 a year if you have the high level of service, the unlimited trash collection. And if you have a limited trash collection, if you're a senior or a single resident, those individuals are saving $120 a year on their trash bill. And that was just over the cost of trash collection only. So they're getting two services at a greatly reduced cost. Some of the benefits of considering contracting also include reducing wear and tear on your roads. You would just have one hauler serving your township. You would be able to fix the cost of trash collection and recycling. There would be no surprises. You would be able to know you could contract for up to 6 years, and you would be able to know exactly what those costs would be for your community, which is a way to really save people money, honestly, and provide a high level of service. I'm interested in seeing recycling collection improved. We do offer, as a Butler County solid waste district, we offer the drop boxes that are located here. We pay for that service, and that could continue if you wanted us to. Or in the case of Ross Township, they decided to eliminate their drop boxes altogether because everyone had recycling at their home. The other townships that you were contemplating joining together in a bid consortium were Whitewater, Crosby, and Harrison Townships. That would allow you to increase the number of the market share that you bring to the bid so that you get the best possible price from the haulers that would want to capture this market over a multi-year period. I'm just trying to think of a few more talking points I wanted to share with you. It would be for weekly collection. There would be no fuel charges likely built into the contract. In the past, when we contracted with Ross, everyone received a 65-gallon recycling can, so everyone's recycling would be contained. It would be in a lidded and wheeled container that people could push to the curb. And as I said, on average, people save from $60 to $120 a year. We did provide some exemptions within the contract for working farms, for mixed-use owner-occupied properties. And if a resident has a place of employment where they have trash collection, we allowed them to provide documentation so that they could be exempt from having an additional trash service that they didn't necessarily need. The hauler, in this case, Rumpke, chose to bill the residents, so that was built in. There's no obligation on the part of the township to manage billing or collections. All of that would be managed by the hauler. And we had some other carve-outs that included service level adjustments. We allowed the resident to adjust their service level from an unlimited service to a limited service if that suited their family better. That was allowed to be permitted once a year. And there was also a carve-out for snowbirds who might be out of town. With a 10-day notification to the hauler, the resident could postpone service if they were going to be away for 2 months or something like that. I provided to Trustee Kolb a sample resolution for you all to consider, and I don't know if he passed that along to you. But obviously, this is in your hands. I'm just here to help facilitate. I have worked closely with Hamilton County Solid Waste District in their bidding process, with Colerain, Ross Township, and Springfield Townships. They did it as a consortium. And the benefit of doing this is that Hamilton County can bring a lot of dollars to this process in the form of expertise. They have already selected a contractor, Michelle Nestor, who's an expert in waste bidding and contracting. And she is able to anticipate and craft a bid document and bid specs that will allow you to get the most beneficial arrangement for your township and for the contract that you seek to get. So they are bringing a lot of additional resources in the form of technical expertise. They are paying for the consultant to assist in this process. I will certainly be involved in helping with communication and follow-up with your residents. We worked closely with Rumpke, who was the winning bid in that Ross Township contract, to develop communication tools to let your residents know what was going on, to ask questions, anticipate questions that we would need to have answers for. But it was a very smooth process. We also engaged in a community forum to allow feedback from residents and individuals who had questions about what the process involved and what the outcome would be for them. So I'm willing to participate and help facilitate that process whenever you're ready to consider this.
So how many people did you have even bid on it? I mean,
We had-
other than Rumpke?
We had 3 haulers total.
Is
we
that
had-
just haulers that haul to Rumpke, or is that Rumpke themselves?
Uh,
I know there's independents that work for Rumpke.
Yeah, we had Best Way Disposal, which has a landfill in Indiana, and we had Republic Services. And I think that was the three bids that we received.
Thanks for doing this, Ann, bringing this to our attention. I think it's important to let the township know what our options are when it comes to waste collection. I happen to have got my Rumpke bill just last week, and my bill was $58 and then a $6.61 surcharge for fuel. So if you would look at just that bill and then look at what Colerain, Springfield, and Ross did, how much did they reduce their bill from a bill similar to what everybody here would get?
On average, those who had unlimited trash collection and curbside recycling saved $60 a year over their trash-only bill.
Okay. And one thing that I didn't know is we pay extra for recycling.
That's
It
correct.
used to be, I always thought recycling saved you money because you're getting product out of the landfill, but actually we're paying for recycling.
Correct.
But under a competitive bid package, recycling would be included for free to the residents.
It would be a combination. The cost would be, they would see one price, but it would include combination service, 2 services for the price, for one price.
Free.
No, it ain't free.
So what our resolution is asking for tonight is let us look into a competitive bid and let Rumpke know we're seeking alternative vendors, and let them come back and say, hey, you know what, if you're gonna go out in competitive bid across your township, we're willing to negotiate on your current price and lower your current bill. They might do that just to avoid a competition phase. But
Correct.
the proposal for tonight is let's go forward and look at this to see if there's any place we can go or any positive bids we could receive for the township people. Now, the one thing that you did mention was the people who are not having service, or the people, everybody would get a bill.
Correct.
Just like if you get trash pickup, you're gonna get a bill. if you don't have trash pickup right now, you would still get a bill. So that's a problem. So what do you do? What you would do, you would offer a letter to the provider that would be selected and say that we have alternate trash pickup. In Hamilton, when we had the meeting with Crosby and the Ross folks down there, they said a letter would suffice to pull any individual out of the agreement if they didn't want to be part of it. But like I said, that's further down the road. This is just to look and see what the actual competitive bid could come into.
I will let you know this. Rumpke is not excited when they hear that townships are going to start collectively bidding as a consortium because they have an incentive to keep this market. I talked with them today just to get some statistics. I think they have 70% of the households here that they serve. They want to keep those households as customers. They have an incentive to lock in this market and secure it for multiple years of service. They do not want to lose the market. As a rural township and as a lesser populated township than, say, Fairfield Township or Liberty Township, you have an incentive to join with other townships to create more market share for them to bid on. And as I mentioned, I have an incentive to see more communities have 100% of their households participating in recycling. In Ross Township, their recycling tonnage doubled when they went from non-contracted to contracted service. So there is a benefit to the solid waste district. We are mandated to increase recycling. That's what Ohio EPA wants Ohio to do. They want to see people increase the amount of waste that they divert from landfills. So this is one way to accomplish that.
What's to stop Rumpke? Quite a few years ago, there was another hauler in town, Forest Green.
Mhm.
And they came in, they were very competitive, a lot of people switched to them, and Rumpke lost a lot of market share, so Rumpke ended up buying them.
Right,
So
I'm familiar with that.
What's to prevent Rumpke from buying Bestway or Republic just to?
Well, I don't think that's going to happen because Republic is a national company. And
I'm just throwing it out.
no, I
there.
want to let you know why I think that they will be considering this to be a competitive marketplace because you're close to Indiana, and Bestway owns their landfills in Indiana. They have facilities that are captive that are profit centers for them. They are not relying on a secondary processor or another landfill to accept their material. So you could say they're vertically integrated. They can collect this trash, they can bring it to their facilities, and they will be, I'm sure, at the table. They are interested in growing their market, which is good for the consumer. That's how we save money, competition. And Republic Services has a presence in Hamilton County. They have a transfer station in Evendale, and they have a lot of capital backing them up because they're a national company. They have a presence all over the United States, and they have facilities for landfilling and recycling. So I think they will be at the table when it comes time to respond to a bid. And if you don't like the bid, you can walk away. There's nothing compelling you to contract. This is simply a fact-finding mission, is how I look at it. If you don't have all the facts, how can you make a good choice? So,
Okay. All right, thanks, Ann.
thank you.
Yes, sir.
Could you step to the podium?
I got 3 properties, and there's only one that I use. Do I have to take and have, if this goes through, a contract on each 3?
No, you have no service on 2 of those properties, so you
So
have
I just
no-
stay where I'm at?
Yes, sir.
And you're gonna do away with that fuel charge too, if we go with this?
Well, that's my understanding is this fuel charge will disappear. That hits us every winter months or, I know that was one of the selling points that we had discussed. That's typical in the industry, but under this scenario, as we go out and bid this or ask for these proposals, we'll know that. So we're at the proposal stage. When those bids come back in, I hope everybody shows back up, and if they're interested in this, we'll lay all the facts out. But that's why we would like to see this is we go lower on the prime cost, and no fuel charge.
See, now, I don't know that I got "we" on that there, because some of the information that we've gotten from Rumpke, that they don't see that our bill's really going down because of where we're at, from what I've been told. And-
Well, now that's, I got the email here. It says, it talks about, I believe Rumpke is the only service provider for residential service in Morgan. And this was from the Rumpke representative. So if Morgan Township would approach Rumpke and say, we'd like a better deal, they're gonna say, I'm sorry, we can't deal, we will not deal with you. But the idea behind this is Whitewater, Crosby, and Morgan Township as a consortium, Rumpke will respond to us. We'll talk to, they will answer the phone when we call, especially if we have an RFP that goes public. So, anything you want to add, Ann, just jump in. Yes, sir.
The part that I don't like about it, that it's mandatory, that people are being forced to do something that they don't choose to do. Okay? Now, if it's really a better deal, why does it have to be mandatory? If it's a better deal, why wouldn't people voluntarily take the better deal? You know, it kind of smells of the Obamacare type of thing, you know? You don't have to take it if you can prove that somebody else is doing it. You can keep your doctor. Remember that? You can keep your doctor? Mm-hmm. Nobody got to keep their doctor. If you don't take it, they're going to penalize you. You're going to have to pay a penalty every year for not taking Obamacare. People don't like to do things that they're forced to do. You know, like I said, if it's a better deal, then why wouldn't you take it? So why does it have to be mandatory? That's the big problem I've got.
Well, it's not, now, I'm agnostic. It doesn't matter to me one way or the other. This was only an informational poll to find out if we wanted to reduce a bill that we're currently getting, that everybody, most people in here are probably getting a garbage bill. This gentleman I know has 2 properties, so you've got property and you're not getting a garbage bill on 2 of your properties. But this is for, that's why we wanted to open the forum, let everybody know about this, and bring Ann in so she could explain it to us. And we're very sensitive to that. Nobody wants big government. So this is something we can table, we don't have to pursue, but it's an option out there that if we wanted to provide a better service to the community, it's something that it would be incumbent upon us to bring it to you, to bring it up in this forum.
Okay.
Okay, thanks for that comment, though. Thank you.
Want to come up? And when you do, please state your name, too. I don't know if they've been doing that or not. No?
Hi, I'm Jenny Houston. Is this legal?
Yes, it is, unfortunately.
Okay, for a monopoly in our community? So next year you can say we all have to have Cincinnati Bell, cable, and internet?
Oh, no. No, I don't think.
What's the difference?
I don't think that would be where you would be. If you solicit for a better price, we can continue to pay any price we want. You know, there's if you want to continue to pay the price, we would definitely accept your comment and consider this something that might need to be taken away, be shelved. This is only a fact-finding request for a proposal to go forward. There's no decision that's made here tonight other than, do we want to find out a little bit, do we want to find out what a competitive bidder could come in? If you came in, if you had somebody come and do blacktopping on your driveway, and the first guy that shows up and he gives you the bill for it, would that be sufficient? Would that be the right bill for you? Or would you want another bill?
I don't think that's same. That's not
Yeah,
even
well-
close to the same, because what we're doing here is saying we're gonna make the whole township, and you're only gonna get this service and that's it. To me, that's Big Brother. I've said, I've said this before, I'll say it again, and I've gotten lots of calls not to do this, not to go forward, and I agree with.
Well, let me just read something from the Los Angeles Times, and that should tell you something right there. This is what they do in California. Recycle A customers are getting bills for new city-controlled service, and many are finding the price of trash pickup has increased significantly. Some customers report their bills have doubled or even tripled compared to what they paid before. There have been complaints of missed pickups and scheduling problems. The waste haulers are also allowed to impose lots of new city-sanctioned fees, including charges if the truck driver has to unlock a gate, if a hauler has to move trash bins more than 100 feet during pickup, if a container is so full that the lid doesn't close completely. Under the old system, customers didn't have to deal with this, is basically what it's saying. So you might say that we're saving money, but then all of a sudden now we're getting charged for having to unlock the gate, having to pick up the lids, it being too far outside the box that it's supposed to be in for them to pick it up. So I just don't know that this community is ready to go down this slippery slope, and these are the types of things that it starts with.
Okay. One question I have is that my bill currently, right now, is a quarterly bill. I mean, I get 4 times a year that I pay this bill, and that covers me for 3 months of the year. Is it suddenly going to go to 1 month, and I'm going to get a monthly bill every month? Therefore, I'm paying 12 months worth rather than the 12 months I'm paying over in the 4 quarters, and I think that would be more.
It's a quarterly bill scenario.
Still?
Yes.
Okay.
And what's the benefit to the community of doing this? Like, whose pockets are getting padded as a result?
I don't see any benefit personally because we already have free recycling that they can drop off here. Once you do it, and now you're mandatory, you've got to pay for it. Maybe we get more people to use it, but I know they fill these dumpsters up. Does the township get a little money from it? Yeah, it ain't much,
No,
but we're not getting money at all no more.
we're not getting any money from it.
We were at
We're
one
not.
time. But even though we're not getting charged.
It is getting paid for. I'm paying for it.
That's true, but
It's
the
not
township's
free.
not, the
The township
township's
is not
not
on the hook to pay
getting
for it.
any money.
But here's my
back
thing,
for
why should
recycling.
Rumpke get recycling that I know they're making money on?
I'd like to
I've-
respond to that. That's a complex question that,
Cause I recycle some things and I get money for it, I mean,
Sure, devil's in the details, right?
this is, right? As I said earlier, this is entirely incumbent on you all to make this decision about what's right for your community. You know, one possible approach to take, because I think people that might actually like having this service are not present tonight, is to conduct a survey in the community, allow people to respond online. You could do an informal survey on your website to gather information about whether people would like this or not, or to provide some other input session opportunities. I think it would be helpful to even talk with some of the Ross trustees and with their administrator.
did.
Have you? Okay.
yeah, they're not
Okay.
happy.
They're not happy? That's not
No.
the feedback I've gotten
That's
from
what we
them.
got, neither is the residents.
Did you talk to Bob Bass?
Hmm?
Did you
Bob
talk?
Bass? No, I didn't talk to him.
Okay. I think you're always going to have the issue of some people are not going to be happy, some people are going to be happy. I think it's up to you all to decide, is this the right fit for your community? One thing I mentioned to Mr. Kolb is, do you want to have trash collection as a standard, as a norm for your community? Or do you want people to bury and burn their trash? These are decisions about how you want to run your community, how you want your township to look. If you want people to do that, and you don't want everyone to have trash collection, then keep the current model, because I think about 17 to 20% of the residents don't have trash collection, according to Rumpke. They don't serve, you know,
I think it might be a little higher, but
There's 359 residents
according to
do
them.
not currently
Okay.
subscribe to Rumpke.
okay. And even if you contract for combination trash and recycling, nobody is compelled to recycle if they don't want to. It's simply a service that's being made available, but no one is making anyone recycle. The idea is that you're able to leverage a better price for 2 services and still save the resident money. It's entirely up to the individual whether they want to recycle or not. I think that's important to recognize. Nobody is compelled to recycle. They simply have the resources in the form of a cart if they want to recycle now. It's going to still be less than the trash cost, is the idea.
I disagree.
Okay, well, as I said, the only way to find out is to engage in a bidding process. And to do it by yourselves, it would be difficult to leverage a very competitive price, but to join with other townships, you get a larger share of the market and are able to compete. I, as an individual house owner, if I call and try to get the best price for my home, I'm only one consumer. But when you combine multiple consumers, that's how you save money. And again, that's up to you all to decide if philosophically that's an incentive that you want to save your residents money and you want to exercise the power that you have as elected officials to do so. That was the outlook of the trustees in Ross. They had told me, we have a working class community. We want people to save money. We want to improve the quality of service in our community, and we want everyone to participate in trash collection. Again, these are decisions that you make. I'm simply here to tell you how the process might evolve and that I would support you in that process.
All right, thanks, Ann. Hello.
Yeah, I'm Kendra Catherman, and I live on Cincinnati Brookville Road. And I just first want to say that I do take offense to saying that those of us who don't have services, that we burn our trash. I don't burn my trash. I don't smell any of my neighbors burning their trash. I work in this area. I'm on the road every day. I'm in law enforcement. I don't see an abundance of trash in our neighborhood. What is frustrating to me is my husband is a small business owner. We pay a significant price for container service. We, 2-people household, my husband dutifully takes our trash and takes it to the container. And where I'm somewhat speculative of this, oh, you just need a letter. Really? Because my family went through this, where you just needed a letter, and it turned into quite a fiasco. So the other thing, I'm a former Rumpke customer, and let me tell you, they will give you full fuel service charge. When our gas goes from $2.04 a gallon to $2.94 a gallon, you will have a service charge. I guarantee you. I don't care what kind of contract you set up, you will have a service charge. I also had the bill quarterly thing. I would rather imagine it's going to turn into monthly collection, because everyone knows you're going to make more money if you do it monthly than if you do it bi-monthly. The other thing I'm a little concerned with, too, I don't know how many have watched evening news. Did anyone see the story about the overabundance of recycling that we're collecting in the United States? And that we don't have enough buyers, where China and some other places used to be huge buyers of ours, and they were buying our plastics and they were buying our papers. They're not buying it anymore. So the prices are going up. I promise you, this whole package deal, we can recycle and do all this fun stuff. It's here, and it's free, and I participate in that. I have a convenient container, and I have a convenient container for my office. I just want to be on record as saying I don't think this is a good fit. I don't feel like this has been a problem. I don't have trash complaints about any of my neighbors. I have other complaints, if there's a proper forum for that sometime. But
You're welcome here anytime you like.
Thank you. You may regret that. But I just want to go on record of saying, we're not, those of us that don't pay for trash collection, we're not dirty little garbage burners in our backyard, and we're not throwing our McDonald's bags along the road. Some people are.
And one thing
But-
I'll add to what you said, once you're in that contract and these things start changing, you can't get competitive.
Correct.
Nor, if I do that to you guys, in my opinion, you don't have a choice to do it anymore.
Right. And like I said, I promise you, when gas jumps from $2.04 to $2.94, happy surcharge.
One of the issues that I got from one of the Ross Township trustees is, like you said, it's a working class community, like Morgan. And some of them couldn't afford the bills. So they now have collection agencies just pestering the daylights out of them to pay the bill for their trash service, which before they were able to elect not to have trash service, take it to their employer, take it wherever. And now they're forced into having collections, and they can't afford it. And now they got collection agencies after them.
Right, and just one other point with, I agree, trash collection is a utility. And, it's just like Cincinnati Bell. Am I gonna have to go with Cincinnati Bell instead of whomever? I should have a choice with my utility. And as far as paving my driveway, I'm gonna opt not to pave my driveway. I'm gonna have my gravelly driveway that gets my car dusty. It's my choice, and I like having my choice.
Thank you.
Thanks.
I'm Mike Schulte. Just one quick question. If this was put in, or is bid on, how long of a period is this good for? In other words, how
If
long
I
is this
remember right,
contract?
Ross,
6
is this 5 years?
Yeah.
Their contract?
I think it can go up to 6 is what I
Is
heard.
it 6?
But
Okay, and also, like the former speaker, I do have concern about the business of a letter opting out. I don't buy that, and I am against it.
Okay.
Simple as that. So, thank you.
Thank you.
I'm Joe Ramsey. The residents moved out in Morgan to get out of the city, get out of the big brother with the thumb on you. If you don't like it, move back to the city. I don't want to sit in here all night and listen to Ross Township, Whitewater, all the rest. We're not those, we're Morgan Township. Everybody has a right to make their own decisions based on the zoning, everything else. I'm not in favor of this at all. You can't, Mr. Kolb, you told her or told the group that if you had the service, if you didn't have the service, you're getting a bill. Is that per individual? Is that per property? That guy's got 3 places. Is he got 3 houses? Is he gonna get 3 bills? Or like, you know what I'm saying?
I know, and that's what
And-
I did not like about it until I heard what had been done in other areas. And if they, and I can only go on the experience of the other townships, what they went through to do this. And I can only take them at their word, and I don't know any more than anybody else concerning this, other than what the opportunity is. And I don't know the details. That's why it's great to have this out and to be able to discuss it. And that's the one thing that I'm not in favor of. If we cannot get out of the people who don't have service, that's a foul. So if that is not a clear cut, here's a letter, I'm just stating that I have other opportunities other than this collection aid company, then if I can't get out of it with that letter, I don't want it either.
I mean, Morgan should be proud of what they got. We don't need to follow other townships. You should be the one leading other townships, not be a follower. You come in here tonight and this sounds like the new Green Deal. It's not. If people want to, if people want to recycle, that's fine. If they don't, that's fine too. I mean, I'm against it. That's all I
We still want
got.
trucks and airplanes. Thanks, Joe.
And cows.
And cows. And meat.
Okay, do we have anyone else who wanted to speak on this, or are we pretty much? Okay.
Yeah, my name is Chris Zankert. One of the concerns I had when she was speaking about opening this up for future discussion, that maybe not everybody got it here tonight, and then trying to put a poll on the website or whatnot. That seems like it's a very easy way to manipulate the results. You know, if you're really that concerned about it, you will make the time to get here like everybody else has. So that's my concern, is putting it on an online forum, is that there's a lot of chance for intrusion from outside sources. So I think with the community the way it is, I think it should be kept to, you know, whoever shows up, whoever has the time to come out here and speak their opinion. And then my concern as well is if there is some sort of, you know, kickback coming from Rumpke or who not, you know, if they can influence it as well. So, you know, that's what stinks on this end is no offense, but she's pushing so hard to get this into here. You know, it smells like there's something else, you know, muddying the waters. So.
Well, I did look into this, I believe it was around 2016 when Ross was. And then when I found out what it was, I dropped it, because I don't like it, my wife said this, I don't want to be big brother pushing down on other people. If you have the choice, we have too many people that have rental houses, go to Florida in the summer, that don't pay for it then. If you got a rental house that's, no one's there for 6 months, they'll be paying a bill for 6 months. We have a lot of elderly that we help out here that don't make enough trash that gets disposed of in certain ways, and they don't need the bill. I don't see it for out here. If you're in the city and all the trash was going in the alleyways, I think it's a good thing. That's my personal opinion. I think it'd be worth it, but that's kind of where I am on it. Unless there's anyone else who wants to speak, we will move on. Yes, sir.
I'm Dave Mallory, and what I've seen on the internet, yeah, I feel like you're trying to take my rights away as a human being. How it states, you're dictating to us. This is America, and by God, I want to be an individual. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dave.
Hey, my name's Fred Zankert. While we're all sitting here, how about everybody stand up? That's for it. I can go back and sit down because I'm not for it. But why don't we have a poll, and if 50% of the people stand up that are for it, then maybe put, or just
I'm
drop it
fine
at this
if you
point.
want it, raise your hand or stand up.
Yeah. Everybody for it, stand
Peacefully.
up.
If all for it,
Hey,
raise your
hey,
hand.
well, let me just address Fred for a second. Fred, you know, it's clear. I think this is probably an idea that doesn't have any legs. You know, we've heard it. We had an opportunity. We've said no as a community, and that's what we're here for. It's no as a community, and let's, you know, it's gone. So that's
Good deal.
it's easy. It's very easy.
So you're dropping it, right?
Oh, yeah, no,
Okay.
we will not pursue
That's all
an
I need
issue.
to say.
Not pursue an issue.
All right, do we have anyone else that has any other issues that would like to speak?
What'd you say? I recorded that.
We are too.
We are too.
These meetings are recorded.
It's being recorded and it's on the minutes.
All right, so we will move on. Mr. Galloway, Administrator.
Okay, first thing on the agenda for the administration tonight is the 1714 Bell Road update. So I talked to the building department Monday. We would have to go down, pull a permit with the building department for the special permit inspection. It's going to cost us $75.75. Unless the owner gives us permission, the inspector can only inspect that property from the outside on the road. So
We
again,
need that for the garage.
the garage is a zoning issue and a fire issue. It was the house that is the one that we're still addressing as a house. That's where we're going with that. The zoning is in the process with Dale. Now, we can file that if we think that's going to give us more teeth for the garage, I can go down and file it for the garage. But the original conversation for this was about the house.
Right.
So,
Yeah, the pictures will speak 1,000 words on the garage. And
Yep.
It's enough for zoning to pick it up.
yep. So, again, guidance from the trustees. If you want me to go pull that, you're going to have to get the permission from the owner to allow the inspector to go on the property. He will only do it from the
No,
end.
that's a no.
So, okay.
So the garage is in under zoning.
Dale's got the garage, and then I can write a subsequent letter for the fire hazard of it.
What recourse do we have if the owner refuses to do anything?
And it's gonna be a Dale thing in legal.
There are two recourses, first of all. Well, actually, there are three. We could move to bring it down ourselves, okay? But that would involve much more. Secondly, I could go to area court to do charges for failure to follow a zoning violation of maintaining his property. Or third, we could do a civil suit, okay? Those are the options.
We could have a court order to take it down.
Right, a court order to take it down.
So with that being said,
Even with the special inspection permit, we still need the owner's
permit to go
permit to
inside
go
the
in.
house.
Right.
That's wasting $75.75. It's not gonna happen.
So that's where we stand on that as of Monday with the building department. So I'd say for now, we continue the process Dale's doing for the garage, at least that part of it, and the junk cars and I asked them, and even the renter cannot give us entry into the property because they don't physically own it, and their name is not on the title and the deed of the house.
I don't believe anybody's living there.
It's currently vacant, yes.
Yeah, yeah. But even if the renter that came here that made the complaint a couple of months ago, she still could not give us permission to go in there. It has to be the owner himself. So there's where that's the latest on that.
Okay.
So, okay. So we'll just not pursue that, and when they come back, the folks that have the house next door will just have to explain to them that's the process. So, number 2 is the legal zoning RFP, the request for proposal update. I sent that to you for inspection. I believe you have a copy in there. I added a thing or two since the email. And then the highlighted yellow areas are for if you want to make changes, additions, whatever, comments. And then I'll put it back to the 3 trustees when, if you're all comfortable with it at a certain time after you've reviewed it, when do you want it to go out? And then the time frame for it to come back. And those dates are highlighted in yellow. Those are from an old RFP, so we would just write in when we were ready to go back. Dale added his parts to it. I did the remaining parts of it, and then also added the 2, I think, significant billing and expenditure expense A and Bs on page 2 that will kind of hopefully zero down every expense that the firms or a single attorney would put in their proposals. So with that, I don't think there's any action tonight other than you guys review it, get back with me, any additions, subtractions, extra stuff you need, and then the 3 of you collaborate on the date you want to go out. It's going to need to go out for an RFP in the newspaper and all for at least 3 to 4 weeks. So, okay. Next is, I don't have it on here, and I just, it's going to kind of bring up something, Dave already kind of mentioned it, and I was actually, something we may want to pursue through the Ohio Township Trustee Association. I heard on WLW the other day, they were interviewing Governor DeWine about the gas tax. And he mentioned specifically in there that it will help cities and townships for the roads and repaving of the roads with that gas tax. So I think that now warrants us to stay on top of that. If that gas tax does benefit the township, where does the money come in? How does it do that? And what's Morgan Township's part of that in the gas tax drawback now to benefit our roads for paving? So he did mention that specifically. We use the word township roads.
And I've also seen in the Ohio legislature a newsletter from the Ohio Township Association where House Bill, I forget exactly which one, is going to look at the current the local government funding for possible increase from 1% to 3%.
Yep, and that's floating around, and nobody will make a decision yet, but that is going around, backed up to 3%. For Jacob, an intern, he's continued to edit the manual. He's kind of edited all the manual changes that were brought in the last meeting. and then him and Connie, and I'm going to let Connie do it when she gets to her part. They've finished up the credit card policy to the point now that it's a handoff to the 3 trustees on that. Okay? Any questions on that side? Okay, the fire department side. I only have one. I have 2 items tonight. One's on there. So the bids came back. The 7 contractors, the bids came back last week. Currently, the architects, Brand Center and Carroll are reviewing them. I have a meeting with them next week to then review them with them and review the bids that came back. And then I'd like to have a workshop. They would also like to have a workshop the next meeting, March 12th at 5 p.m. to review all of the bids come back and everything like that with the 3 of you on March 12th, 5 o'clock, if that works.
So we'll need 2 hours?
They'd like to.
Okay.
Yep, because there's a significant amount of stuff in those bids coming back. Okay, perfect. Just the other thing I want to mention, I want to thank Rob, both the road department and the fire department. We were heavily engaged over this last weekend with the storms. A lot of storm damage, a lot of trees in the roads. Had a significant damage to the Cincinnati Bell infrastructure, both fiber optics and telephone lines on North Wind. It literally destroyed 2 junction boxes from a tree coming down. But between Rob's guys and Rob and we now know that snow plows will push more than just snow. They will actually push trees off roads a lot quicker than people doing it with their hands and a chainsaw. So got the roads cleared very fast with the combination of the 2 departments. And next, you'll have in your packet, need 2 POs tonight. One is for, I think you pronounce it Aldertrek. That's our fire manager. That is our program when we use for scheduling our firefighters yearly in the scheduling program. That is the yearly PO for renewal for $1,870.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Updike?
Yes.
Mr. Brucker?
Yes.
Mr. Kolb?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Okay, and the next one is to Laundry Lux. So I put in a grant from the Bureau of Workers' Comp. We received the money last week, $6,142.50 from the state, and we are purchasing a bunker gear extractor, basically a gear cleaner, 450 pounds. The check came in. We now need a PO. Our share of the cost will be at $1,228.50. And so we'll need a PO for the entire, Connie, correct me if I'm wrong, a PO for the entire $77,371. And then we will split the 2 checks between the money that's already come in from BWC and then our share.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Updike?
Yes.
Mr. Brucker?
Yes.
Mr. Kolb?
Yes.
Motion carried.
That's a nice job getting that grant.
Thank you. That's significant where the gear we have, the machine we have now barely washes 1 set of bunker gear. And it's 10, 12 years old, Rob. I think somewhere in the 12-year-old range. And we've spent more money putting into it. So with this, the key thing is it's a prevention for firefighter cancer. And now we can actually do 4 full sets of gear at one time, which is amazing. For the time being, it's going to be upstairs in this building in the mezzanine to replace the old one. So. And I only have 1 executive session tonight, which will deal with employment of employees. And that's all I've got, unless you have questions for me.
Thanks, Chief.
Thank you.
Mr. Brown?
I've got 3 things here. The first off is I put a folder on your place there for we had got a $26,000 grant from the state of Ohio to replace all the street signs. That includes posts and hardware. And that's quite a few signs to have to replace in the whole township to be driving them by hand. I wanted to get they call it a Ready Boss driver. It drives the U-posts that we use to put the street signs up. It's got a little Honda motor on it. You definitely have to wear ear protection when you got it. Riley Township has one. We used it to put a couple signs in, and it works very well. The price of it is $2,400. That is just for the unit. There's about a $225 shipping fee that will go with that.
Is that a one-man driver? Can you just one person use that?
One man can use it, yes. They showed a video of one guy using it. You put it on the post while the post is leaned down, stand the post up, and it'll drive the post down. And then if you do have a really tall post, it does have handle extensions, so you can get up higher with it and put the controls, come down further. That way, if it's a taller post, you're not reaching way up here, you're still down at eye level to drive it down. So,
And this is through that traffic safety warehouse.
correct.
So you need
So
a PO
that's the
for
vendor?
26.
That's the vendor, yes.
26 something with shipping?
2625.
2625. I'll make a motion to have PO to Traffic Safety Warehouse for the ready driver, post driver.
Post driver, yes.
Post
And
driver.
It does have different caps you can put on it for the different size post, and if we would have to drive a regular farm T-post, you just got an adapter to put on it so you can drive a farm T-post also.
So how much time it save you per post? 10 minutes?
Probably. I mean, we're gonna really be able to knock them out. The only thing is I'm gonna have to make very sure that I have all my utilities marked before we drive, because this will
You'll
go
go
right
through
through them.
How did we drive on the old process?
We had
Sledgehammer?
the biggest freaking post driver you ever seen. It takes two guys to lift the thing up, and you're constantly pulling it down. I mean, we do it. We've done it for a long, long time here, but I just would like to work a little smarter than harder. So.
Yeah, nobody's getting younger.
Right.
I'll second that.
So anyway, in the amount of $2,625. Seconded.
Okay, Mr. Brucker?
Yes.
Mr. Updike?
Yes.
Mr. Cole?
Yes.
Motion carried. Rob, I'll need a copy of that proposal. You can give it to me tomorrow.
Oops, sorry. The only thing is, we have been cutting up several dead trees in the township on different roads. Obviously, this weekend, when we had the 50-mile-an-hour winds, we was out with the fire department. But we've been trying to mitigate some of the dead trees that we have around the township. We was up on Bay Road, probably took 8 or 9 down up there that were pretty good size. Up on State Line, we took some. Of course, there was 2 that we didn't get that come down, so, but they was actually off the road right away and fell out into the right of way. So we still have some more that we're working with Butler Rural Electric to try to get on some more on Northwind Road that are actually off of our road right away, but they're right next to the Butler Rural Electric's lines. So trying to get them up there to take care of them, because depending on which way they fall, they could fall in the road. But again, they are off the road right away, so I can't just go cut them down. But if I can get Rural Electric in, Rural Electric can take them down because of them being close proximity to their power lines. And I've worked well with Rural Electric. I mean, if they come in and get them down, I'll help them get it cleaned up off the road and stuff. Because like I said, they're gonna fall. It's just not if they're gonna fall, just when they're gonna fall. And then the last thing I have is I've been sending the guys to some training classes, some mower safety classes, and then this Thursday they're going to the engineer's office on a flagging class for proper flagging, setting up work zones and stuff like that. So that's all I have.
Have you heard anything back from the engineer's office on the Okeana project?
Oh, yes, March 2nd, there's gonna be a pre-bid meeting at 9 a.m. at the engineer's office.
That's Saturday.
Or March 12th, I'm sorry.
Okay.
March 12th.
What time did you get?
9 a.m. at the engineer's office, and I'm planning on being there. So.
Okay. Anything else? Anything else for Rob? If not, Mr. Marshall.
All right, in your folders, you'll find my February hours, okay? Just to let you know that. One thing on my list that came through from Jeff as Township Administrator was to begin doing research and see what we have in regards to small cell 5G networking, which is the big thing coming in telecommunications, especially for cell phones and data transfer. I've been discussing this with Roger Gates. The question that Jeff had asked, would we be able to regulate the height of these little cell things? To explain the small cell tower, it's not like the big towers we have out here, okay? You obviously know that's a communications tower. This one is only going to be about this tall or more, maybe just a little bit more. And it's going to set on telephone poles about every 1,000 yards.
And they want them to be, what is it, 100 feet high?
110 feet.
110 feet.
And so they would be coming around putting in new telephone poles that are 110 feet. Well, they've also found that in the middle of all of this, they have found that they work well if they're put on the taller electrical power things. And if you go down through Shandon, you'll notice that the telephone poles are taller and everything else, so they would sit up there without any problem. And that's what we're trying to do, to see if the zoning commission needs to set a height limit for when it goes to public roads. We can't stop them from coming in as long as they're a telephone company. They're in the communications world. They can come in on the public roads and put them around. It's when they get to private drives, it'll be a little difficult, all right? And everything else, but then it's all for cell service in terms of you being able to have good, quick, quality calls, and also to have a faster, easier download, upload of if you're using your cell phone for the internet, okay? At this time, I don't have a decision made, and this will be presented to the zoning commission at their next meeting. I received a complaint on a vacant house at 4890 Cincinnati Brookville Road. I'm in the process of obtaining an address for that for RCR Properties LLC. As soon as I get that, I will be forwarding out a letter to see what is the intention of the property owner in terms of that property. For any of you who don't know where it's at, is you're heading east on Cincinnati Brookville. You come around just after you come out of the curve. It's the little yellow house that has the large set of windows right beside the old log house that fell or that's fallen down. It's to this side of us on the right-hand side as you're going down the road. Next week, I will be writing the first letter to the property owners at 3976 Scott Street, which again is a vacant home known to be, and already the fire chief has sanctioned it in a way that helps us begin to look at it to see what we can do with it in terms of blighted property. It is a mess. If anybody wants to drive by there, you would see that. All right, last thing on my list is I spent 1 hour, 15 minutes with Jack Grove on the today strengthening Article 7, Section 7.5, our business enterprises. Just to let you know that. Then that way, that will go before the zoning commission at the next meeting for their discussion and approval, and then forward it on to the Butler County Planning Commission for their response and input, suggestions, and approval as well.
That is what, March?
Our next zoning, I'm trying to schedule a zoning meeting because I had to cancel the February meeting due to illness, okay? I was flat in bed with a temperature of 102. So the next meeting for the zoning commission schedule would be the 20th of March, okay? But I'm trying to get one on the 6th if I can, so that I can get this onward to Butler County Planning and meet maybe their April meeting, which would be the second Tuesday of April. Okay.
Would Dwayne be able to make that? The 6th of
The
March,
6th
that's
of
Ash
March.
Wednesday?
He couldn't make the 13th, but I'm not sure. I'm gonna put it out tomorrow, Carol, and we'll see, okay? If not, it'll just stay the 20th, okay? All right, and that's all I have at this point. I do not need anything in executive session.
Anything else for Dale? If not, Ms. Reinhardt?
Okay, first, I need a resolution to approve adding $6,142.50 to Fund 2902, which is the BWC Safety Intervention Grant Fund, into the 2019 revenue budget.
So moved. Second?
Mr. Brucker?
Yes.
Mr. Updike?
Yes.
Mr. Kolb?
Yes.
Motion carried. Then you have before you the 2019 permanent appropriations for the 2019 budget. So I need a resolution to approve the permanent appropriation budget for 2019 to be submitted to the Butler County Auditor's Office with a total carryover balance available for appropriation of $1,626,646.47, and a total amount from all sources available for expenditures of $1,737,62.81, for a total amount available plus balances of $3,363,709.28. And what this is our carryover from last year plus what the auditor is saying we should receive from our taxes. So it's not guaranteed, but this is our best guess for what we have for 2019.
So you need a motion as read as, I was so moved. Instead of rereading it.
Second.
Okay. Mr. Updike?
Yes.
Mr. Brucker?
Yes.
Mr. Kolb?
Yes.
Motion carried. Okay, I've done some more research into the donations for the Butler County Township Association dinner meeting. As you know, I've spoken with the auditors, the state auditor's office. I also have spoken with the Ethics Commission, and they are advising us not to accept these donations. This could be frowned upon and looked as though those vendors are trying to curry our favor in some way. And so I am advising you to say that we aren't going to accept those donations, and we will return the checks that we have received, because I never did deposit those.
Quick question, now that you've said that and I've had time to think, would that include a bank or just a person that sells services?
It would include the bank too, because we can always shop around and go to a different bank. Just
Okay.
because they're not selling a service in a
Well,
way
you
that they
know what I'm
are.
asking.
Yeah,
Okay.
so you're okay with that?
I'm all right with that,
Okay.
I was just, quick question.
All right,
When is our meeting? March, isn't
May.
May,
May. No, let's not do March again.
Oh, yeah, please.
For those of you that have completed your sexual harassment training, I need a copy of your certificate, please, to put into your personnel file for our records.
I sent you an email.
I need a copy of the certificate. Sorry.
Penny, I have to get with you because I cannot get it. It's not coming to me. I don't think they're coming through. For some reason. Cause I looked. And someone else sent me an email, I'm not getting it, so. So this happened once before where it wasn't working and Chris Brucker had to go in, but we're having problems with that, the internet and all that over here, so that might be part of the problem.
Well, Rob sent out his agenda. Did you receive that tonight?
I got that.
Okay, so that was through the township.
I don't know.
Okay, and the last thing, and I don't have that on my report, is the credit card policy. Jacob and I have made some tweaks to it. The thing that I need for, I guess, decisions on, specifically which other accounts, for instance, Baker Hardware, Lowe's, Home Depot, which ones of those, because I think those need to be spelled out in the policy, and that's kind of a call for you guys. And then the other thing that we've talked about, obviously all of us that hold credit cards or purchase it, from those stores, are going to have to sign the thing that they have received the policy and that they understand it. But the thinking is that also all the fire department personnel, Jeff, will also have to do this because they go to Baker's, other places, and purchase things that are put onto our charge account. So
Anyone that uses it's gotta do it.
I guess the thing then I will need from, let's see, you and Mark are the only ones that have the Lowe's cards, right? Okay, I need a copy. Okay, I know he had the Home Depot. I need a copy of your cards, or else just give me the last 4 numbers so that we can put those into the policy the way we have done the credit cards, so that those are all recorded. If we get those and we make the addition,
Basically, we'll
you just
do
want to say it?
business status quo, but we make the paperwork match the way we do it.
Yeah,
Because we had the credit card policy before, which sounds like there wasn't very many that did.
yes.
And
We
then
just
we'll
need to
finish filling
update it.
Update it, so
So
everything's
that it
good.
matches what the auditor says we need to have. So I'll get that information, Jacob. Are you here again Monday? Okay, and maybe we can work on it a little bit and have it ready then for the next meeting for your approval. Is that okay?
Yes.
Okay. And that's all that I have.
The only thing I have tonight is just a great turnout from last night on the Morgan Township landmark replica for the 3rd graders in Morgan Township, and had a lot of the families and the kids and the grandparents. They all had a great time, so thanks to everybody who pitched in and helped out on that. So great job. Thank you, everybody. That's all I got.
One thing I'll touch on that, I mentioned to her also, is hopefully we can get something before the election.
Yeah.
Is there any way or some kind of thing that we could come up with to have some kind of demo case that we could put also in the community center where they could put both? That way, as people come in for the election, they can see some of the kids' projects. Maybe I can even build something possibly, but we need to look at and see where, what, and how we might be able to do something. And that moving forward, everyone who votes gets to see some of the kids' projects. The kids, I think it's good for everybody.
See if
So-
we have a display case or something, I mean, I don't,
Well, we need to look how, where, what, how we want to do it. If we're maybe even one on rollers, we roll back in that storage room and bring it out just for that. That way we don't take up the room in there.
Well, not only taking up the room, but it has to be locked because we rent that out, so
Yep.
people could tamper with them and just, kids play with them or whatever.
now the community center, they only vote in the back room, but by only voting in the back room, that is pretty full back there with voting booths and tables, and that's gonna be tough to really put something else back there
I
for
didn't know if-
people to look at.
Even if we had like one of them, chrome shelves that they got at Sam's and we did plexiglass around it, just something we could put out there. We're not talking big. They got some shelves. I just think it would be nice.
We could look into it and see, but again, that's pretty crowded back there, cause they've got 2 precincts in one room. Cause they used to have a precinct in the front room, one in the back, and for whatever reason, they didn't like that, so they put it all in the back.
Well, no, the e-books have allowed for the precincts to come in and be in the same room because when you go to the e-book, it doesn't matter. I don't ask you what precinct you're working with. I mean, you're not asked. You don't have to choose that. You just come up to the e-book, give me your identification, and we go from there. And it tells me on the e-book what's there. So I think that's why they've reduced probably the number of machines too as well. The same here too, because now you walk in and you see the 12 or 18 booths and then everything else.
Okay.
The only thing I've got to add is, going forward, I've talked with Jill Evans, president of the Morgan Township Historical Society, and in the past, she used to put artifacts in the display case. She said she just doesn't have the energy to do it anymore, but she's more than willing to give us the artifacts if somebody will do that. So I nudged my wife, and she said she would do that. So as soon as Jill gets back from Florida, we'll go down and see what we can come up with for, future displays in that case.
She just left, so she'll be gone
I know,
2 weeks.
I know, but.
Mr. Kolb, do we know how long the students expect to keep their displays here?
Dewana the teacher had mentioned that she'd call us this week and make arrangements to do whatever we needed to do with these projects, whether to take them back to the school or we make arrangements to put them someplace else for another display. So it's all, we're waiting on her right now.
Okay.
I'll let everybody know when I find out.
We for sure would need them out for the primary,
Yes.
before the primary,
Yeah.
at least in here, I mean, the ones in the case in May.
I don't mind leaving them in the case, I just worry about them being out here and then one of them gets damaged and then the kid's upset, so.
Right.
That's something I gotta take in consideration as well. Alright. The only other thing I wanted to do was get in more to our township policy manual. I think the last time we left off at, what, 39? Did you guys bring that? Huh? You did not?
If I may, for the moment, I'd like to acknowledge the fact that the township has lost a very valuable resource this weekend in the name of Tom Stander. He was the township, one of the township's historians as well, well-known around the township and both Morgan Township and Riley and everything else. He was in a very tragic accident, and just would like to take a moment to just keep him in mind, okay?
Before you do that, why don't you see if anyone, audience wants to stay or leave before you go into the policy?
Alright. Before we go into this, if anyone wants to leave, they're more than welcome. They don't have to stay here. You're welcome to leave anytime you want. You didn't have to stay. But if you want to stay, you are more than welcome. Appreciate all your input. Like to see you guys come more often. Thank you. When we take about a 3-minute break and then we'll reconvene. I'll stop the tape for just a second.
Very quickly. Yeah, Mike Schulte, I don't know if you know or not, I live I live on State Line Road. As you know, there where Shaming Road and Bay Road come together, you have that bridge with the extremely sharp turn.
Right.
Last summer, at least twice, the guardrails had to be repaired. And then about a month ago, right after one of them bad snowstorms, we had to sit for maybe 20 minutes because the semi went all the way back there to the bridge. He had to back all the way out to California Road. Is there any way you can get a sign up there at the intersection with California Road to say, no semis, extreme, sharp, turn ahead?
We took that was one thing I tried to get done once before, but the county engineers are the ones that are in charge, and that's their place to put those signs, and they do not want to do it.
Well, who would I call the county engineer to voice a complaint?
Where
Because,
do you want the sign exactly? Do you want it on Caroline?
No, I would like to have it on Shaming Road so that they can, you know how Shaming Road
Right.
is, they're following their GPS or whatever.
Exactly, GPS
So,
is
I mean, if
taking
it was
that
on
route.
Shaming Road right there where they see it, then they would,
Well, is there room to turn them around? We were thinking that it needed to go up on Carolina Trace so they don't even come down New Bittinger.
I'm talking about when they're coming from,
Are you talking
Delaware.
coming?
No,
coming
I'm
from
talking about,
Cincinnati, Brookville?
on
California?
California Road.
Okay.
Right at the intersection with Shaming, that they would see it there.
See, I tried to get them to do that before, and they don't want to do it. The less signs they have, the better off they are.
Well,
But you
who-
could call Greg Wilkins and complain to him, because I tried to get that done once before. But they're the ones that pay to get fixed the bridge.
Oh, that was
It
gonna
would-
be my next
It
question.
would benefit them, but they don't want to put them.
Well, okay. I just hate to be inconvenienced.
I
and I
wanted
hate
to
to
put
see the
one
trucks
there
do
and
that.
one, like on the Ohio, Indiana side. They didn't want to do it. I couldn't get them to do
Yeah,
it.
call Greg.
But call Greg,
Wilkins.
more people complain.
He's the county engineer.
Okay,
Better
I'll
chance you
give him
gotta
a
get
call
rid
and
of
see
it.
it, because really, I mean, it's ridiculous. The sign would have been a lot cheaper than replacing the guardrails and all.
Absolutely.
Plus,
It had to
I
tear the
hate
truck
sitting,
up.
standing around waiting for a truck to back out.
Yeah, that's a long.
Yeah, so, okay, well, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Alright. Now, I'll make a motion to take a 5-minute adjournment.
Okay.
Second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Jacob, how's the world treating you?